Welcome to Jon S Sports channel, where we do everything Championship, League One, running, and now we've added cricket. So we're going to expand a little bit. We're going to expand to cricket. Just in the South African versus Sri Lanka test, so that went quite well really for our first attempt there. We're going to go into the review week 18 for the Championship. Sheffield United versus Sunderland, and we've got second versus fourth, and Sunderland just starting to falter now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 draws in a row. 0-0, 0-0, 2-2, 1-1, 0-0. Just don't seem to be able to crack it, do they? And last time out, West Brom, that was a dull game indeed. Nobody seemed to be capable of scoring. I remember the listen along thinking and saying in there that halfway through the first half, this is going to end up 0-0. It was. Wow. Sheffield United, on the other hand, win, draw against Coventry, but Coventry obviously got rid of the manager at that point, and they had that we can now play football again, and all of a sudden started playing really well. So I'm sort of stumped on this one. Let's see what you're all saying. 2-1, 1-0, 1-0, 2-0. Everybody seems to be going Sheffield United here. Not many of you thinking that Sunderland can come out of these doldrums of not being able to get a goal at the minute. I'm sure they will, get people fit again, and they'll soon be and firing on all cylinders, so to speak. And I'm sure Sunderland will be back to their usual winning ways. But at the minute, I don't think there's much change in the team, and I think that Sheffield United will win it. I'm going to go with a nice middle of the road. I'm going to keep with most of you that say it's going to be 0. So I'm going to go Sheffield United 2, Sunderland 0. And we move on to our next game. Our next game is Borough versus Hull. So we're going into our Saturday games. We go Borough versus Hull. Borough in 6th, Hull in 22nd. And a lot of people thinking quite one way this. What are you saying? I'll go straight into what you're thinking. 1-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-1, and I'm sort of looking at the results for Hull. Draw, lose, and in fact that last draw was against Portsmouth, 1-1. So, and it was at home, so it's not a great time for them, is it? And their defeats are against Oxford, West Brom, Luton, and Sheffield Wednesday. So a mixture of bottom half teams. So, not looking too good at the minute for Hull. However, Borough didn't manage to get past that Blackburn side at midweek, and really should have been able to score, at least score, if not win it. So, sometimes they just can't break down the opposition, although they look completely on top. And it's just the run of the green seems to go to the opposition, and that's happened a couple of times in the last few games that they've lost. The Blackburn one certainly, the Coventry one, I think when they lost to Coventry, they just didn't get the run of the green. As simple as that. However, they can score 3-0, 3-0, lose 3-0. 3-3, then lose 3-0. Win 4-1, win 5-1, win 6-2, and then lose 1-0 to Blackburn. So it just doesn't make sense, does it, sometimes? I'm going to go with most of you. In fact, I'm going to go with the majority and say Borough 3, Hull 0. I think Hull defensively are really good. Saying 3 for Borough, when Hull are quite good in defence, is a little bit iffy. That Hull could reduce that to a 1-0 or 2-0. So we'll have to have a look and wait until I listen along on Saturday. Oxford versus Millwall next, and we go to 18th versus 9th. And Oxford at the minute are 3 games without a win. In fact, it's 5 defeats out of 6, with just the Hull City win, 1-0 at home. they're certainly in the doldrums at the minute. 2-0 defeat, 2-1 defeat, 1-0 win, 1-0 defeat, 6-2 defeat, and a 3-0 defeat to Sheffield United, which is critical because Sheffield United don't always score three. Don't usually score more than one or two. So to me, that shows that they're starting to just wane a little bit at the back, and that's not good against a Millwall side that don't score very many, but I tell you what, they're consistent. They're better at home than away, which is a little bit of a worry for me, and I can see it's a bit of a worry for you as well. 0-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-1, another 1-1. You're thinking, just a couple of you thinking 1-1 here, and I'm actually erring towards the people who are thinking, Oxford, this has to be a 6-game poor run, yeah? That means that we should be seeing them start to get out of this poor run pretty soon. I'm going to go Oxford 1, Millwall 1, and make it 3 1-1s in a row for poor old Millwall. We go to Watford versus QPR, and I hope all you lot have given me some good predictions here. So we got Watford in 5th, QPR in 23rd. What are you saying? 1-0, 2-1, 1-0, 1-0, 2-1. Okay, we seem to be sort of 1-0, 2-1, 2-0. What are we thinking with the teams themselves? Watford, a bit of a mishmash really. Win, win, lose, win, draw, win. They should have really won against Plymouth, but they didn't. But it was away, and Plymouth are really good at home. QPR, they had a win against Cardiff, and I tell you what, I don't know how they managed to get that. I really don't. They did really well, though. They really did play well. I thought Cardiff really did play exceedingly well themselves. They just kept the final ball, the final shot was lacking quality, should we say, in a couple of them. So we'll wait on that, and we'll see how QPR managed to come out against Watford. Again, I'm going to have to go, if I draw my line properly, I'm going to have to go with the majority, and I'll go with Watford 2, QPR 0. So I'm right down the middle of where you lot are going. I can see where you're coming from. I think 0, 1, 2 goals for QPR. I can see it being a 2-1. Watford, 1 or 2 goals usually. It is at home, so I'd probably sort of err on the 2 goals, possibly 3. So 2-1, 3-1 might have been my scoreline, but going from you, I'm going to go 2-0. Go away now from the Watford game, and we go to Blackburn versus the mighty Leeds, and Blackburn in 8th versus Leeds in 1st, and Blackburn are still getting the run of the green, not playing what I would call top 6 football, but they're getting the run of the green, and they're getting the calls, and they're getting the judgments, and the ball just happens to be, if it's hit randomly, it goes in the right direction. So I tell you what, they're doing really well. Just getting the run of the green, which, hey, if that gets you up near the top, it gets you up near the top, but you need to be thinking, if that were to stop, we need to be able to up our pace and our abilities just that little bit to try and stay where we are. And I can see that happening sometime in the around Christmas would be about right. Remembering how Plymouth went up to first place until Christmas and then just dropped off. Well, it was Reading, wasn't it? Reading went up to first place and dropped off down to the bottom third, didn't they? Wrong team. But yeah, they stayed there till Christmas, and the run of the green just went away from them. The squad depth in that case also fell away from them, but I don't think this team will have that issue. Against Leeds, who, well, they have actually lost one and drawn one out of the last 6. 0-0 against Bristol City. Where did that come from? Millwall away, well, 1-0 defeat, but we know what Millwall are like, don't we? They're very good at home nowadays, again, and I'm really, really excited to see games down there now. What are you saying? 1-1, 1-2, 1-1, 0-1. And I'm sort of looking at a Blackburn side that just... are they going to keep the run of the green? You know, I still think that Leeds have the benefit of skill on their side. When they lose, they'll see the 3 times they've lost, it's been 1-0, 2-0, 2-0. I'm going for a score that you all haven't got, which is Blackburn 0, Leeds 2. If Leeds win, I think that it'll be another game where Blackburn don't score. Bristol City versus Plymouth next, and Plymouth are really wanting to try and make something of this game. Bristol City in 12th, Plymouth in 20th, but they're getting close, aren't they, to that bottom 3? And you know, Rooney attacking half his players the other day and thinking, that they shouldn't have got slaughtered 6-1 by Norwich so easily. But that's what Rooney does. He makes sure that he's not going to get the flack. The players can get the flack instead. But that tends to make him the scapegoat for the players then. So you've got to be very careful as a manager if you do that. And I'm not quite sure he's done the right thing in the way he attacked the players. Not because he was wrong. He was right. Half the players did give up as soon as the goals started going in, which wasn't like Plymouth have been playing. But you've got to be very careful on how you upset the people on the pitch, because they're getting the points. They're what the people pay to see. So what are we seeing with Bristol City? Draw, win, lose, lose. You know, they either turn up or they don't. For a couple of games, I think they did turn up against Burnley. And I think they were unfortunate not to get something from it. I think they turned up against Watford. They did a damn good job of keeping them from scoring for quite a while in that game. So they can play really good football and they can defend really well against a Plymouth side that can also defend well quite a lot of the time. But when they do start to get trounced, they gave in against Norwich and lost 6-1. So this is a real mixed bag for me. I would actually go either way. This to me could go either way. Bristol City might not turn up, and if they don't, I can see a team like the likes of Plymouth being able to snap that and accept it straight away and probably sneak away with a 1-0 win. So I think it's going to be sort of 1-0, either 1-0 to Plymouth or 2-0 to Bristol City. And I'll put that in my comments in a bracket because I'm going to go Bristol City 2, Plymouth 0, but it could be Bristol City 0, Plymouth 1. So yeah, my Plymouth supporters out there. There is some good vibes after losing 6-1 because the players will be up for it. I'm almost certain that Plymouth will be attacking Bristol City as much as they can to make sure that people realise, we are good enough to stay up again, and we will stay up again because we have good players and a great manager. So will they do it? It'll be all whether Bristol City bother to turn up, which is not guaranteed. I'm sorry, but it isn't. So we carry on with the next one. So let's go with Coventry in 17th, Cardiff in 21st. And what are you all saying? 2-1, 2-0, 3-1, 2-1. I think Coventry have been pretty good since sacking poor old Robbins. They've got Lampard and I think that this is going to be overall this is good news. I think it is a step up in manager. I think that he has the ability and the knowledge of certainly this league and the Premier League if they manage to get up there. And I think they could do it, and they might be able to make that step because it's so even in that league. It's so even in League One, but it's really really even going up to that 5th, 6th slot, and I can see them making it up to that one of those 2 bottom playoff positions. Win, lose, draw, lose against Burnley. That one was really quite strange. I expected them to turn up and do well, and they didn't quite cut it. And Burnley did their usual, not many shots, but they're usually quite good on the ones that they do get on target. And against a Cardiff side that. They've dropped off of late. The QPR game, actually I thought that they should have got something from that, but that final ball just was not there. So Sheffield Wednesday draw, Blackburn defeat, Luton defeat. And that must have hit them quite hard because they would have been expecting to do a little bit better than a defeat. I'm going to have to go with you lot because I think this game is quite unpredictable. New manager bounce, I think yes, absolutely. You're saying 2-1, 2-0, 3-1, 2-1. I'm going to go with most of you. I'm going to go Coventry 2, Cardiff City 1. I can see them scoring, absolutely. Norwich versus Luton next. And down at Norwich, Luton. Obviously, Luton just don't seem to be getting any better for me. It's really weird. The 3-0 defeat last time out away at Leeds. We actually got the correct score for that as well. It's not. They just didn't really have the oomph for me that you expect of them. But they played well against Hull, and that win against Hull was almost like, can they do this? Can they, can they jumpstart their season? But then I thought that when they won 1-0 at Cardiff, and they seem to be showing people that look, we're definitely better than the bottom third, but that bottom third is quite level, isn't it? And the bottom half is quite level. But then they come out with a 1-1 draw at home to West Brom, and you think, but West Brom are really clinical and really, really good. Don't score many, but they don't let many in. But they let one in against Luton, and you think, and it was 1-1, and you're thinking, this team can actually play, and they have got some really good players in it. They're far too technical to be where they are. Norwich in 10th, Luton in 16th. They're just starting to come away from that. It's say 2 wins out of 4, and all of a sudden they're edging their way back up into that mid-table position, which must be a hell of a lot of relief for the fans, for the fans' sake, I should think. But this is one where Norwich started poorly. Then they picked up. And of late, they've sort of dropped off. Three defeats in a row. Cardiff, Sheffield Wednesday, Bristol City, a draw against West Brom, and then a 6-1 thrashing of Plymouth. It's almost like a statement game, isn't it? And I just think that Norwich team can play football, and they can play damn good football against a Luton side that's just a little bit disheartened. And when you get that disheartened, it can last the whole year, the whole season. I know that from Rotherham, from Rotherham being in the Championship. I really do. So, and I don't think it'll last all season for Luton, but I just think that they're going to take a little bit longer just to shake that out of their heads and say, no, we are getting better. We are getting a couple of wins now. We are creeping up the table. Come on, let's gel a little bit more and just try a little bit harder. And I think they will. Will they do it in this game? Well, I have to agree with you lot. 2-0, 3-1, 2-1, 3-2. You know something? I'm going to say that Luton do manage to just kick-start their heads a little bit, I'm going to agree with somebody out there. Norwich 3, Luton 2. Let's try that one. I think that Luton may very well just try and kickstart their year. And if they do, and you do lose 3-2, that is no shame, because at least you've started to score and hopefully you played better connected football, should we say. Preston versus West Brom, and Preston was showing so much really good play about 7-8 games ago. And then they lost in the Carabao Cup against Arsenal, but they played really well there. And they lost against Bristol City the game after at home, but actually they played really well. And then it went to pot. 0-0 against Sunderland, 3-1 defeat to Portsmouth. I think they played okay in that game, actually. I think they played reasonably well. They just couldn't break the Portsmouth down, which you would have expected them to, with the morale being so low at Portsmouth. Derby County at home, 1-1. At home they should be doing better against Derby County. Nothing against Derby County, by the way. Stoke City, they can let goals in. They can score, but they can also let goals in. And it was 0-0, and actually I found that quite a boring game. So we're seeing a Preston side that just seem to be in one of these 6-game doldrums again. I think they'll come straight back out of it. I really do think they'll come straight back out of it. What do you think? 1-1, 0-0, 0-0, 0-2. So we're sort of saying, if anything, if anybody wins it, you're suggesting that West Brom will win it. That's interesting. You're probably right. The only team, there's only one win in the last 12 games, both teams combined, and that is for West Brom, 2-1 away at Hull. I think this is just. I think Preston might nick it. I think you might all be wrong, and I think Preston might nick it. I'm actually going to put that in brackets. I think Preston may nick this 1-0, but I'm going to go with most of you, and I'm going to go Preston 0, West Brom 0, but it might be a 1-0. Just watch out. Preston aren't as easy to just roll over and give up as some of the other sides in the Championship. And we go to Stoke versus Burnley next, and this is another interesting one because Stoke, as we've just said, 0-0 last time out against Preston. A really boring game. 2 games before, 1-1 at home to Millwall, 1-1 away at QPR. Actually, both of those games would have been were actually quite tough for them. QPR away, they can just put 10 men behind the ball, and they do, and they defend really well. Millwall aren't as good away from home, but they still play some damn good football, and they did then. And you're thinking, actually that was a good draw. Stoke City can do well, but you can't really look past the fact that Burnley tend to score the odd goal or perhaps 2. And it tends to be 1-0, 2-0. There's a 0-0, 1-0 defeat away at Millwall. Yeah, they're good at home, aren't they, Millwall? 0-0, and then 1-0 win, 1-0 win, and a 2-0 win. And the last one, 2-0 win against Coventry, who had suddenly started to play well over the last 3 games. So a really good win there. So we have to think that the technical brilliance of Burnley will show through, but they tend not to score many. And I have to go. I'm going to go with most of you. You're saying it's Stoke Burnley 0-1, 0-1, 0-2, 0-1, 0-1. Right, okay. I'm going to go Preston Stoke City 0, Burnley 1, and that is a direct response to what you're all saying. So Swansea City versus Portsmouth. Plymouth, wrong port. Swansea City versus Portsmouth, and And this is another difficult one to predict. And I'm just looking at this and thinking, this could be difficult. Swansea City can score a lot of goals. I mean, they lost 4-3 to Leeds at home. I mean, wow. At home they can score. Even if it's the mighty Leeds, they still score 3, which is pretty damn good against Leeds. Away 1-2 at Derby, win. Away 1-0 defeat to Burnley, but it's Burnley. Watford, who can score, they won 1-0 at home. Going backwards in time, Oxford away win 2-1, and then at home they lost against Millwall 1-0. So I'm sort of trying to look at the scores, and there's lots of 1s and 2s involved in their games. They can usually scoring about 2, occasionally slip into a 1 or a 0, but and then 3-4 against Leeds. Bloody hell, where did that come from? So Swansea can score, and they probably will be at home against a Portsmouth side if they turn up. That is 2 games in a row, isn't it? That is just not quite gelled, and there's no gelling between any of them. I mean, some of it just seems to be individual players running around playing football. That's what I get from watching it, and believe me, I live in Portsmouth, so it's locals telling me this. Not just me. So the Portsmouth fans are seeing it as well. It's just individuals playing football and not actually connecting as well as they can. So will they start to connect? I think they have done. A draw against a win against QPR. Okay, I think that was not when they started playing well. Defeat to Cardiff, defeat to Sheffield Wednesday. Then they started playing well. Hull City away 1-1. Plymouth away 1-0 defeat. Actually, Plymouth are really good at home, and I thought Portsmouth played quite well. A Preston win at home 3-1, and they played really well there. That's for them. That was really good. Okay, not as good as West Brom at the top, but it was really good for that Portsmouth side. And I can see Portsmouth starting to push this, and I'm going to play my joker again, and I'm going to go Swansea 1, Portsmouth 2. I just think that Swansea are likely to score 1, absolutely. But I think Portsmouth could continue this vein and score 2. So we'll go with that as we move to the next game, which is on a different day. So we'll go quickly to Sunday. Derby versus Sheffield Wednesday. Derby in 15, Sheffield Wednesday in 13. Typical mid-table clash. Derby 1-1, 2-1 defeat, 2-1 win, 1-1 Plymouth, 1-1 Preston, and then a last time out Swansea 2-1 defeat at home. Right, okay, so, and I don't think that penalty was a penalty, so it should have been less than that. I'm sure it was that one, wasn't it? Let's have a look. Make sure I've got that one. No, it was that one, Hull City, wasn't it? Yeah, let's have a go. Yeah, it was the penalty. I don't think the penalty... No, it was Sheffield Wednesday, wasn't it? Hang on. I'm thinking Derby. Derby, Swansea City, wasn't it? Yeah, the Swansea City game, the Derby penalty at Swansea City, I still think that was not really a penalty. So, Derby running the luck a little bit here. And I think Sheffield Wednesday are just a little bit more consistent, and they're sort of, they have little blips, and they have a 6-2 defeat at home to Watford. Believe me, if Derby suddenly start playing well and thrashing them, they will lose 6-0, because Warne loves playing against Wednesday. He loves beating Wednesday from his Rotherham days. So he's absolutely enemies with Sheffield Wednesday. He will not want Michael Smith to be scoring against his side because of certain things. So he's going to be all out to win this as a manager. So that is another angle to take, isn't it? So what are you saying? 1-2, 1-1, 1-1 and 1-0. I'm going to go with one of you that said Derby County 1, Sheffield Wednesday 2. I just think that Sheffield Wednesday have slightly too much consistency here for a Derby team that have only won 1 out of the last 6 and 3 draws. Could be a 1-1, but I think I think Wednesday just have the edge for me. Please do like and subscribe. This is Jon S Sports channel, where we're starting to extend what we're covering. Over and out for another prediction video. Please do like and subscribe. Jon S Sports channel, over and out.